Well, we were put on standby earlier on this morning around about 11 o'clock to receive casualties, not knowing in what format, how they were going to arrive. And the first bunch of casualties, there were 13 on board one of the offshore wind farm vessels. So they have these crew transfer vessels that take people out, technicians out to the wind farms. And one of those was in the vicinity. And that one picked up 13 casualties and brought them into the Port of Grimsby here, to the fish docks. Very quickly followed by an ABP pilot vessel that brought in another 10 people, another 10 casualties. And then shortly after that, there was another 9 casualties brought in by another pilot boat. So altogether, 32 casualties were brought through the port, and there was a line of ambulances waiting to take them to Princess Diana Hospital, which is what they're still doing.
Well, it's not quite stationary, of course. It's swinging at anchor, but unless the so long has had a mechanical failure, and it doesn't look like it has because it's proceeding in a straight line, you have to say, as your previous speaker said, with all the radar, GPS, and AIS indicators, and presumably somebody standing on the bridge, it shouldn't happen at all. So it seems highly negligent at first sight that tanker should be hit by a passing vessel. Looking at the conditions, there doesn't seem to be a visibility problem, although there were some fog and mist around earlier this morning. It's a well-known anchorage, so again, if you're transiting through it, you're going to keep a good lookout. The tanker itself, which looks like it's got aviation fuel in to me, it's probably going to be a complete write-off. I've had an experience in the Gulf where I've had a tanker come straight at me where there was no one on the bridge. It was an autopilot, and we had to get out of the way pretty quickly. So these things do happen, but it takes quite a lot of human error to make this happen. Yeah, it's not a designated shipping lane, which is why obviously ships can anchor in the middle. Otherwise, it'd be like sort of parking a car in the middle of a motorway. But having said that, you know, every single law at sea says you must keep a competent lookout at all times. So for somebody not to see this and not to react, there's going to be some real questions to be asked, not only of the crew, but also the owners as well, as to what sort of routines they're running. If you look at it, you know, I know you have, it looks like it's been torpedoed. It's like a tanker that's been hit in the North Atlantic in World War II. So you've got a lot of fuel on the water. You've got a lot of smoke, as you can see, and I'd say those ships are pretty unapproachable right now. So if anybody's left on there, then you have to fear for them. I mean, a lot of these vessels have automatic, what they call jettison systems, which put the lifeboats in the water. I mean, if you're the master of this ship, you want to try and muster as many of your people as you can, account for them, make sure they're all safe before you actually put the lifeboat in the water. But we've got to bear in mind, this is a hefty collision, and there may have been casualties actually in the collision itself. But I would think that they've got as many people off as they could, as quickly as they could, while the fire was starting to break out.